If you love elegant, neutral decor with a touch of springtime charm, well, you're in the right place. Hi, my name is Leslie, and welcome to Happy Tuesday, where we do crafts and DIY and home decor and more. Today I'm sharing irresistible DIYs to make your home feel fresh, cozy, and effortlessly beautiful this season. Now, don't forget to stick around until the very end and I'll have a hint on one of next week's projects. So, let's get crafting! Here's a quick sneak peek at all 5 of today's projects. I think they turned out amazing and I can't wait to share them with you. That brings us to project number 1. This is the project that we talked about last week that you needed these items for. So we're going to use this cotton rope from Dollar Tree, and one bundle will make 2 of these coasters. If you don't have this cotton rope from Dollar Tree, you could also use macrame rope or twine. Use what you have in your craft supplies. So I've decided to take off the tape off the end of this because I don't want that on the middle of this coaster. And then I'm going to use some hot glue to hold those cotton pieces together so that my rope doesn't fray. Then with some more hot glue and a little bit of twisting, we are going to twist this rope into a circle. I am using the lid of an oatmeal container as kind of my guide. It was the right size for the coaster I wanted. Now, if you don't have something like this as a guide, you could cut yourself a piece of cardboard, just something so that you'll know when you get to the size that you're looking for. Once we've gotten this all wrapped up together and glued tightly, we are going to take this piece and match it against our felt as a backing. Now, if you don't want to use felt, you could use the cork sheets they have at the Dollar Tree, or you could use the burlap fabric, whatever you have in your craft supplies. Since this is an Easter coaster, we are going to give it some whimsy by adding on ears. I've decided to take the end and cut it off on one side, leaving the other side still attached to our coaster. And we'll again seal off the ends with our hot glue and then add a dab of hot glue on there, securing this to the bottom of our coaster. Now in this first one, I did something a little bit different than I'll do in the second one, but I'll get to that in a minute. For the second ear, we're just going to secure that rope down again with our hot glue and measure this piece off against our other ear so that we have 2 ears that are about the same size. Now don't worry about being perfect. It's all about the whimsy in this particular coaster and not necessarily about perfection. Homemade isn't perfection anyway. It's beautiful just as it is. Securing down our second end, and we will secure that to the bottom of our coaster. Tell you that securing down these ends and attaching them, I ended up with a lot of hot glue stuck to my fingers, so beware of that. All right, so here we are going to take our plastic lid, which was a kind of our guide for the size of our coaster, and a pencil. Go ahead and draw around that, giving us our basis for our coaster bottom. And I will have to make several adjustments for it so that it matches perfectly underneath, because we don't want it to be showing on the top of our coaster. So we will trim that down until we get it to the right size. Then I'll go ahead and glue it. And this is one of the adjustments that I made on the second coaster. So I'll just secure that cotton rope down just a little bit better, and then we'll give this felt a good dabbing of hot glue and secure that onto the bottom. Next, for our ears, we want to add some type of fabric, or in this case I used ribbon, and I am going to cut the ribbon to match the underside of the bunny ears. This will do 2 things. Not only does it add some beauty,
but it also helps to keep them from flopping around. Nobody wants floppy bunny ears on a coaster. And to keep our edges from fraying, we are just going to burn them off ever so slightly with our lighter there and make sure that that secures all the ends. Then we'll give the ear a good dose of hot glue and tack on our ribbon. And voila, look at our beautiful bunny ears. We are going to also use that same ribbon and we're going to make a little bow. You can make your bow any kind of way you want. I decided after multiple jugglings around of this bow that I would glue the ends together in the middle and then gather it, securing it with a piece of the ribbon so that the center matches. I'm going to use a little bit of hot glue on the ends of this just to make it neat and clean. And then we will wrap that around, gathering up our bow so that it is in the shape that we want it, and securing off the end with a dab of hot glue. Then I'm going to form my bow into the shape that I want it, and a piece of hot glue and glue it on the ear, and voila. Now this is where we did the second one a little bit differently. I glued on the ears first and then added the felt on, and we made this one a little boy with a bow tie. Aren't they so stinking cute? I just love these coasters so much. Now the beauty with this design is if you do want your coasters to be colorful and not neutral, you can just change out your fabric or ribbon and make their ears and bow tie and bow to match whatever matches your decor. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below.
I just wanted to pop in here real quick and tell you thank you. I appreciate the time that you spend with me each week. If this is your first visit, I hope you'll consider hitting that subscribe button and clicking the bell so that you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. Give today's video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and comment below. Now, let's get back to crafting.
That brings us to project number 2. I did reference this project in last week's video, and so I decided to show you how it's done. We are going to take some tin foil, and depending on the size and shape of your carrot, will determine how much tin foil you need to cut off. So I am just taking my sheet, and once I've got it all rolled up into the length of the carrot that I want, then I'm going to form it into the shape of the carrot that I want. And the cool thing about using this tin foil is, it's something everybody has, and you can mold it kind of like clay. So I was really impressed when I got done that other than the color of the carrots not being a normal color, the shape of the carrots were very realistic. Then I'm going to take some twine, and using hot glue, we are going to secure the twine at the very end and then wrap it very tightly next to each other around and around that carrot until we get to the very top. Now don't finish out your top, because once we get there, we are going to add our quote unquote greenery to it. You can use whatever you like. You could use some more twine, I suppose. You could use actual greenery, or we are going to use raffia. Now I'm going to take my Cricut weeding tool and poke a hole in the top of that so that we have a place to secure our greenery too. Then I determined the length I wanted, and I'm going to cut a bunch of this until I get to the size and shape of the tassel at the top that I want. Once I've determined that size, then I'm going to take a little bit of twine and wrap it around the end, securing all the pieces together and giving me one central point to glue into the top of our carrot. You'll see poking out there is a little bit of green raffia if you wanted to do this same look, but have it look more like a real-ish carrot, then you could use that green raffia. And you could always, if you wanted to make these and have them look like a regular carrot, you could paint your twine when you're all done, whatever shade of orange you want. Now, if you don't have a quick Cricut weeding tool to do this part of the project, then you could use a screwdriver and all, or probably even, the end of a fork or something. So we're going to give that end of our greenery a little hot glue and secure it inside. And then to secure it further, we're going to wrap the twine with some more hot glue around the top, securing all those pieces together inside of our carrot. And once you have it all secured in there and you have it up as high as you want it, go ahead and trim that off and secure that end down. And then we are going to go to my funnest favorite part, and that is burning off all the little frayed edges on our twine. Now you're going to have to be extra careful with that raffia. You certainly don't want to set that on fire. And then I just made 3 different sizes so that you could see, you can make this into any size and shape you'd like as a carrot. And I think they look so adorable. What do you guys think? That will bring us to project number 3. This is one of my favorites that I made this project. So I'm just going to use a plastic egg. I happen to have one that was white-ish. We're going to need a little clay pot, some felt, some wire, and a little bit of twine. I'm going to grab my Snow White chalk paint by Waverly and a brush, and we are just going to dry brush some of this white onto this clay pot until it is covered as much or as little as you want it. I wanted to give it a pretty good covering, just leaving a little bit of that clay poking through. And then I am also going to go ahead and paint the egg so that it is the same white shade that my pot is, because that's the way I wanted mine to look. Now I'm going to take our wire. This is just paddle wire I bought at Hobby Lobby on clearance. And I'm going to determine how long I want my ears to be. Then I'll cut a second piece to match. Once we've gotten both pieces cut, then I am going to straighten them out as best I can, because that paddle wire, it gets kind of all twisted up a little bit from being on that paddle. Then I'm going to form them into the size ears that I want. Grabbing my jewelry pliers, I am going to twist that end. Now you want to leave enough of the end that you can secure it down inside your egg. If you don't have these white eggs, you can use plastic colored eggs. You can use the ones you fill, just, secure, glue it all together so that you don't lose it. And make sure that you are capable of poking holes in the top, because that's how we're going to secure our ears down, or you'll have to come up with a different way to secure your ears. So once we've gotten both ears done, I'm going to cut a piece of that felt to go all the way around my ear, securing it down with a good amount of hot glue. And then we're going to cut the shape out of our wire to make the shape of our ear. Now you can see there I've got that little bit of wire down there at the end, because that's how we're going to secure our ears down. And I made sure that my ears were trimmed up as much as I wanted. Once that part is done, we're going to add a little bit of twine decor to our pot. And if you don't have, or you don't want to use twine, you could use cotton string, or you could use baker's twine, you could use yarn, whatever matches with your decor. And I just made a little bow, wrapped it around 3 or 4 times, and then I'm going to secure my bow there with a dab of hot glue. The next thing I'm going to do is grab some filler to fill inside my pot. In keeping with my neutral theme, I grabbed this brown paper filler, but you could use moss or raffia or excelsior or whatever you happen to have on hand. Then I'm going to just cut off a little piece of stick there so that I can glue that into the bottom. That way I don't have to use styrofoam in the bottom to secure my egg. And I am going to go ahead and use my Cricut weeding tool to poke some holes in the top of my egg, and that's where we're going to secure our ears there with a dab of hot glue. So dab of hot glue on each one of the ends of those ears and a little bit down at the bottom of that felt, and that will secure those right onto our egg. Then for the little bunny tail, I am going to just grab some pom-poms that I have in my craft supply. If you don't have pom-poms, grab a cotton ball and cut off a little end. And I just decided, I think I liked the second size up one a little bit better than that tiny one. Dab of hot glue. We're going to put that on his little bum. And then I'm going to dab a hot glue at the end of our little skewer stick there and stick that down in the bottom of our pot. And he is all complete. Isn't he so stinking cute? I just love this little bunny so much. I think it's just nice and simple. I think this would make a really cute piece on a tablescape if you wanted to put little name tags in there. And that brings us to project number 4. This one is also very easy, very adorable. We're going to make our ears in the same way we made for the last bunny, just cutting them off at the same size. I'm going to show you one, but I went ahead and made 3 because I thought they would look so cute in a trio. And again, this is another project. If you don't want your decor to be neutral, you can pick whatever color yarn or twine, or you could paint these eggs if you so desired. But I'm going to use yarn, and I secured my ears in the same way I did before, leaving the little piece at the bottom so that you can secure those inside your egg. And then a dab of hot glue at the bottom of that base of that ear, and a little bit more hot glue as we wrap it up around the ear. Now be careful you don't pull too tight or you'll change the shape of your ear. So you want to just do this very gently, keeping your ear shape intact, adding a little bit of hot glue as you go so that it stays in place, and all the way up to the very tippy top. Now when you get to the top of that ear, you're going to add just one more piece of that yarn and then secure it over the top of that wire. Then I just added one more dab of hot glue just for extra measure to secure it together, and I am going to just trim off any little frayed edges so I can keep the shape of the bunny ear that I want. Once both ears are done, I am going to take my egg and I'm going to go ahead in the same manner I did the last one, and I'm going to poke holes in the top of the egg, and that will be where the ears get attached. Now on this one, I am actually going to go ahead and I wanted to test the holes and make sure they were big enough. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some hot glue onto the bottom of my egg, and we're going to start wrapping our yarn in a circle all the way around the entire egg. So I'm just going to keep wrapping around and around, adding a dab of hot glue as I need it to secure that yarn down to our egg. Again, if you don't want to use yarn, you can use whatever you have on hand. This might be really cute with some fabric around the egg, or maybe some lace, whatever you have that goes with your decor. And you're just going to keep adding dab of hot glue and roll that around, dab of hot glue, roll that around until you get to the very end of your egg. Now, once you get to the end of your egg, you're just going to cut that piece off. This first one, I went ahead and wrapped all the way to the top, and then I struggled to try to find my holes again. I thought I had kept them in there, but I ended up having to pull the top of that yarn off that I had already secured so that I could find the holes and get the ears all secured in there. But on the next ones, I just didn't twist it all the way to the very top. I put my ears in and then finished it off. But you're just going to go ahead and glue that back on the top of your egg and make sure it's all secure in place. Make sure your ears are in the direction that you want them. Now, because I used round eggs, I needed to create a base so that I could leave them on my tiered tray or on a shelf and they would sit nicely. So I just grabbed a little scrap piece of this balsa wood and cut a tiny little piece just big enough for him to have something to sit on or against. And then because I didn't want it showing, I blended it in using some white chalk paint. Once I had it all painted, I'm just going to add a dab of hot glue onto the top of this little piece of wood and make sure that the bunny is sitting nice and tall. And now we're going to add the final touch of his little pom-pom tail. Isn't he stinking adorable? And I just made a little trio in neutral colors. Again, you don't have to have neutral colors. You can make these as bright or as pastel as you want to go with your decor. And that brings us to our final project, project number 5. This is my absolute favorite project of this video. I think this piece turned out so stunning. Now I have these egg pieces in my craft supplies. It's the same egg that I made that first bunny a couple videos ago. And I bought these at Dollar Tree. Now, I did get a little tip from a Dollar Tree employee in my comments on Saturday's video that because Easter is so late, Dollar Tree is still putting out pieces. So if you don't have this piece or haven't been able to find it yet, keep looking. I decided I wanted this piece to look kind of rustic, so I did a dry brushing of the white on that kind of faux wood look that this egg already had. And then I am going to secure down my twine in a diagonal pattern. I started kind of at the top and I brought it all the way around. That way I was sure that the front matched the back and that this would be okay to be seen anywhere. But also I wanted to make sure that the ends and the edges matched up and so that it was symmetrical. I love the way this turned out. It is rustic like I wanted, but in such an elegant kind of way. So I am just going to continue to do the diagonals. Now I did 4 diagonals going in one direction, and once I've gotten all 4 of those done, then I am going to take my 4 diagonals in the other direction. And I tried to match them up so again it was symmetrical one side to the other. And kind of hit the same points. Now I noticed when I got to this third piece that the front pieces just needed a little dab to hold it in place so that it wasn't moving around, which is helpful when you start with the second row of diagonals in the opposite direction. Anyway, I love this. And again, if you didn't want this to be neutral, you could color your egg in a different color. You could use a different kind of twine, or if you wanted to go in with maybe some colored macrame rope or yarn, you could do that too. And here we're going to go with the opposite diagonal, and we're just making sure that it's symmetrical across and that both sides match. That kind of gives it that elegant piece of the decor. I know that Easter is late this year, and I have been trying to decide whether to continue doing Easter and spring decor or whether to move off into something else. So I would love y'all's opinion on that. If you would drop me a comment below and let me know either yes to more Easter and spring, or let's see some other kinds of decor or some other ideas. And if you have some ideas, I would love to hear them. Let me know what you guys would like to see. And not just for this season or the next few weeks, but are there some specific things that you would like to see this year? Let me know in the comments below. Now let's finish up our egg. We have one more piece to get across the top. And once we have that done, then we are going to move on to finishing out our decor piece. Now, if you wanted this to be able to be seen from both sides, maybe you wanted to paint the back. I chose not to. I thought it was fine just the way it was. Mine's going to lean up against a shelf anyway. And so other than, the sides, nobody will really see the back. I'm going to use that same ribbon that I used on our coasters, so my decor matches. And I decided to do, I guess I call it a breast cancer bow. So I'm going to take some twine and looped that over, and then I'm going to tie this together, cut off the extra, and dab hot glue on the back side of that, and we are going to stick that right on our egg. But before I do, let's dovetail our ends, and you can make these as long or as short as you want them, depending on how much of your egg you want covered. I wanted to see the majority of it, and so I kept my tail short. Now, I thought it still needed a little something extra, so I'm going to add a twine bow, and on the end of my twine bow, I am going to put those beads that you see there. So I made the twine bow to be just a little bit smaller in width than the bow that I've already got up there. And then I'm going to I decided to do 4 beads on each side, and I'm going to take the end of that twine and just knot it down. And I decided just to leave a little bit of the twine showing up underneath my twine bow so that it was mostly bead that you were seeing. Did the same thing on the other side. I'm going to go ahead and string those 4 beads, make a knot down there at the end. I did secure that with hot glue. Didn't do that on camera, but made sure that that knot wasn't going to fall apart. Added a dab of hot glue, and then I thought, well, this project is almost complete. But you know what? Because I ran that twine up underneath it, it needs a little bit of help to stand up. So I made it a little stand with a couple of tumbling tower blocks and secured those down with some hot glue until it sat up in the direction I wanted. And here is our project all complete. I love, love, love this so much. I think it is just a very classy, classic kind of look, and definitely adds to my neutral decor. And here are all 5 of today's projects. One last look. Twine carrots, the bunnies in 2 different ways, our little coasters, and then our cute little egg. Let me know in the comments below which one or ones were your favorites and which one or ones you'll try to recreate. If you do recreate anything, I love to see your pictures and see your take on my creations. And I would love to have you email those to me at HappyTuesdayDIY@gmail.com.
Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really did enjoy our time together. Now, since you stuck around till the very end, here's your hint on one of next week's projects. You're going to need some skewer sticks from the Dollar Tree. You're going to need some plastic and cardboard recycling items. And you're going to need some yarn, twine, or macrame rope. But until then, make it a great day and Happy Tuesday!